What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a little while since I had a ramble again, but you know what? It is what it is. Today we got another ramble, so regardless, we're gonna go through this a little bit, but just on my little bike here. Awesome bike, by the way. I recommend it. It's a Titan fitness bike, the fan bike. My bad. And if you got like HSA, FSA, or whatever, and you got to use it by the end of the year, use it up. Buy yourself one of those things, especially if you've been looking into some kind of alternative to running or something with less impact on your joints, but can still push you when you're doing cardio, vascular exercises. Freaking awesome. I recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. I like using that thing. You get your heart rate pumping, or you can take a little cruise while moving your arms and your legs. They have a little screen here. You can hold your phone on it, whatever. Things like that, right? And it's pretty freaking awesome. So get you one. It might be a little loud if you're in an apartment or something. So if that's the case, get yourself one of those little stationary bikes that don't make as much noise, that uses magnets to increase resistance and stuff like that. I got the Ye-Soul one. You can plug your phone into it, charges, and it also shows your phone on there. It's less than half the price of a Peloton, and it has no restrictions on what you show on the screen. So I don't know if Peloton has any restrictions where it has to only be in-app things to show on the screen or some crap like that. You never know. Some things do that, but Ye-Soul does not do that, and it's like a $500 bike. So, and it has a screen, and you don't have to subscribe to their thing in order to use it. You can pull up whatever the heck else you want to while you're biking. You can watch YouTube, you can watch whatever. So, pretty good stuff. But enough with that. Today I'd like to talk a little bit more about, trying to stay physically fit, man, and the challenges in that, especially if you're someone like myself where, you have to do it, but sometimes life gets in the way of that, right? You're busy at work, you're busy in your life, you're busy doing other things. You make 102 million excuses as to why you can't do it, including playing video games or doing other things, right? And sometimes you just don't feel like doing it, right? If you're like me, and you have to actually admit it to yourself that you simply don't feel like doing it. So you're sore, you're whatever. And but first thing you got to do is admit it to yourself, man. You got to admit it to yourself that, hey, man, you got to get it together. If you really want to do this thing, you got to get out there and do it, regardless of if you feel like you're tired, if you feel like you can't do it, if you're beating yourself up mentally. You got to get yourself out there. You got to get out there and do it. And whether you feel like it or not, you got to go do it. You got to be consistent. And that's the only way you get better at these things, is by doing it. And, that's one of the realities a lot of us, I believe, don't want to face in order to get better, in order to meet our goals of losing weight or getting better at something new, right? We come up with all these excuses, mainly me, I guess, to myself, and and don't follow through. Don't follow through on it, because there's more important fish to fry inside of your mind, my mind, whoever's mind it is. And the reality is, you'll never meet your goal if that's the case, right? You'll never do the thing that you set out to do if you don't make yourself do it. If you don't force yourself to do it, even though that even if you don't want to. And the easy bailout is making an excuse, and holding yourself accountable to why you're not doing those things, right? And not holding yourself to the standard to continue to do those things and whatnot. So first and foremost, if you want to get it done, you got to do it regardless. So that's what I tell myself, and that's what I know. And whether I follow through on that or not is an entirely different story, right? For a while now, because I had injury. I know injury from jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. When I got slammed, man, my ribs popped out, and freaking. I was all messed up for months and months, and it's still not perfect, but I want to get back into it. I'm going to get back into it, and I got to take it slow, right? And I have no excuses as to why I didn't do other things in order to contribute towards that and stuff like that. Like I've been doing other exercises, but I've had troubles, especially like bending down and stuff like that. But you know what? At least I been doing a little bit, but I let myself go on my diet and on staying consistent and doing it more than once or twice a week because I'm busy at work, because I don't have the time to do it, because I want to play video games, because I want to do all these other things, right? And I'm discouraged because I'm like, I've been using my injury as a crutch as to why I'm not keeping up with these things, is why I let it go to the wayside, and why I am not following through on my word. And that ends now, right? That ends now, right here today. I'm going to continue on my word, and I got to get back on track. I got to eat better. I've got to make better choices health-wise, and I got to get back into the gym and continue to learn and stop watching and wishing that I was there or whatever on the mats, or watching these awesome YouTube videos, Mighty Mouse, the B Team, and many, many more that I like to watch and educate me on the way of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Get to see these things. I got to get back. I got to get my ass in there, and I got to start doing these things, and I'm going to start doing these things again, and hopefully be smart about it and not re-injure myself and not push super duper hard, but to just learn and do my best to get better, and getting better. I got to push my freaking ego aside. And I was just having a conversation with my instructor last week when I went, and I was talking about it. Like, my ego gets the better of me. I know it, and that's the hard part, is getting past that. I go in with an intention of going light and not pushing myself. But when you start rolling sometimes, and you forget about all that stuff, you're having so much darn fun, and you don't want to lose, whatever that means, right? In training, I tell myself that nobody cares and things like that, but it's not that I care. It's that's just me. That's my nature, and I want to push them to their limit, and I want to be pushed to my limit, but sometimes you exceed the limit that you're given because of circumstances, right? And I sound like a butt hat, but the fact of the matter is that this is the truth, right? This is the truth, and I have to face that reality in order to get better, and is what it is. But anyways, we were doing some practicing some judo throws with bands, resistance bands, with my son. I was showing him some stuff, and I almost got whacked in the face by the band because the band snapped. It was I had the bands tied up onto my weight rack, kind of like this, and the going through the motions of how I would try to do a throw or what I seen people on YouTube do. And it freaking rubbed on there and then it snapped. But these bands, they're few years old. So I snapped 2 bands yesterday, a light one and the medium one. And, it is what it is. I'm due for new bands anyways. Like I said, those are years old. I was using them when doing powerlifting years ago, I got them they're probably like 3 years old. So that bad for a lifespan of those bands and how much I've used them, because I like using those bands. I've used them, like I said, for many years. So if you want to get you some bands, you get those at westsidebarbell.com. Those ones are nice. You can also go to your local retailer to get it. I know our Walmart has them, so you can find them for fairly cheap. I think the light ones are like 10 to $16 or something like that. Not too bad for how long they last, and if you're using them for certain exercises. I believe that bands help with like tendon strength and things like that is what they showed through like the Soviets' research and through some of the things that Louis Simmons has done as well. So if you ever want to look up on that, you can YouTube it. They got a lot of useful information on there. You can also find like studies that have been conducted as well. They have books written about it and things like that through those things. But I'll urge you to look that up yourself. You might find that not all the information that I say is true, because I forget over the years, and I get things mixed up, and it happens, and I'm not perfect. It happens. Sometimes I just regurgitate something that I heard somebody else say. So there's always that as well. And but I will never mislead anybody with ill intentions or purposefully in any way, shape, or form. So I guess you could take that with a grain of salt. I try my best to be my best, right? So, and a lot of things I say is what I interpreted it as. And I do have ADD, so sometimes I guess it's hard for me to distinguish on things that have meshed together in my time of study, whether that be 5 minutes of study or I've been researching it for years, and I've been incorporating it into my own things and my own experiences with those things. But one thing's for sure is that the bands have helped me get stronger, especially when I went through like bench pressing plateaus and even squatting plateaus, because it's just fun. It's fun to feel like you can stretch those bands. You feel more powerful than you do with normal weights, I think, and I just like doing that, and seeing those bands stretch that far, and you're like, dang, and I can barely pull these with just my hands, right? So awesome things. If it makes you feel cool and you like to do it, that's all you need to know in order to do it. I had somebody ask me why I like to lift with chains a while back, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing more badass than hearing those chains clink as you're lifting weights. You just it creates like a different rhythm, and I don't know. I grew up watching Quentin Rampage Jackson, and he wore that big chain, and it's just freaking awesome. So, but anyways, I always get off track with these rambles, and anybody that's watched for X amount of years, I appreciate it, and I thank you, and that I like to get off course all the time. So, but anyways, hold yourself accountable, face the realities of your truths of why you're not improving or why you're not holding yourself accountable in order to progress forward, right? There's no shortcuts to getting better. It's only you putting forth the work, the effort, and the time dedicated to that craft in order to get better at it. There's no shortcuts, no matter what you do in life, other than consuming as much content of that as possible and putting forth the effort towards that. And people can have all these grandiose theories and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not putting it to the test, it means nothing. It means nothing, literally nothing. So you got to test out these theories in order to prove those out. And, you know, as history would show time and time again, you don't achieve that by doing nothing. Get off your buttocks and start moving around a little bit. Start doing something, brother. Start doing whatever you can to get better and improving. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace out, brothers.